Hello fellow reefers, and welcome to my 2-month update on my new build. This is what the tank looks like right now, and it is in the ugly phase. It's only been about 6 weeks that it's had water in it. It was pretty bad last week. There was lots of dinos, lots of cyano, but it's looking a lot better right now. I made a few changes. I'll go through that. I think that might have contributed to the clear up. But right now I'll just talk about the display, and then I'll talk about the other stuff when I go down into the basement to show what I did down there. Please excuse all the reflections. It's full daylight and lots of sunshine in here. The anemone was looking kind of pale when I first put him in here. He's been in the basement in a holding tank for a year and a half. He colored right back up and pretty much stayed where I put him. I was happy about that. I was worried about him wandering around. Some new frags. I took a trip to the frag farmers market in Connecticut on March 1st, and that's where some of these frags came from. My Crocia clam. He's getting about 600 to 800 par there, which is really high considering, he's on the sand, but he's directly below the Kessel. So picked up this nice elegance. That frag swap at the frag farmers market was pretty much, I've been going for years. It was one of the best ones I've ever gone to. You can see the hair algae problem, but the sand is doing really well. It was covered with cyano, slimy, gross. You can see the sea sweep. I want to get another one and put it in the center of the tank. Right now they're not taking any new orders. I hope that's not a permanent situation because I really find them useful for circulation in the tank. Really happy with the lighting. The coloration is really good. The par levels are great. There's no fan noise, so I'm happy. And I like the look. I like the shimmer. There is, as you can see, some sunlight, natural sunlight coming through. You can see it on the sand. And as the season progresses into summer, it'll get more and more. Okay, so now I'll take you down into the basement and show you all the stuff that I did down there. All right, here we are in the basement. Where to begin? Where to begin? This is a work in progress. It definitely looks a lot better than it did just a few weeks ago, but I still have a lot of wire management to do. But I think I'll start over here. I put in a working sink, which is, it's like paradise, I gotta tell you. I can clean all my equipment, the skimmers, everything down here, no more lugging it up into the kitchen. And I've got space here to play mad scientist. I have all my reagents and plenty of storage space. Still got plenty of mess to clean up, but I'm getting there. I'll go over all the equipment one by one. I want to start on this side with the reason I think that I managed to clear up my cyano and dino problem. This is a CO2 scrubber. I've played around with them before, but they weren't practical for me because I went through the media so quickly. But that was before the recirculating systems came online, when people started to use those. And so I thought I would try and experiment and give it a try. I originally wanted to do this. Right now there's 2 skimmers in my tank, as you can see. Okay. This is the new one. And up until last week was the only one in the sump. This is a Royal Exclusive 300 internal. And all my skimmers for years had been vented with fresh air from the outside, and then also the exhaust goes outside. This helps keeps the humidity levels in the basement down. It also helps because I use ozone, and I don't have to worry about ozone getting into any of the living quarters. It simply goes straight outside. I'll mention something a little about ozone in a minute too, but in regards to the CO2 scrubber, if I was going to use this skimmer for the CO2 scrubber, I think you can see what I would have to go through. I mean, the plumbing, valves, solenoids, how do I manage with the air from the outside going in and out? And so it was kind of daunting. And then I remembered that I had my other skimmer from my previous system. And so I thought, why not use that skimmer as a dedicated CO2 scrubber and have it go on like 8 o'clock at night and turn off at 9 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully that would give me, the bump that I needed at night and also save on media. So that's what I did. I stuck my other skimmer in here. I rigged up the plumbing for the recirculation. That hose going down there is in case the skimmer overflows. It's kind of a mess, but this is like the temporary let's see how this works phase. And I put the meter in and turned it on, and it's been working now for approximately a week, and immediately I saw a difference, naturally with the pH at night. I mean, it wouldn't go below 8.1. Normally in years past my pH could go all the way down to 7.8. The first difference and effect that I notice is the cyano upstairs went bye-bye, and the dinos quickly followed. Now, I don't know whether that's just the progression of the ugly phase or it could be due to some other effect, but it kind of makes sense to me that organisms that depend and thrive in high CO2 environments would not do as well in a high pH because, the CO2 is just not as available to them. So I'd say that this experiment has been pretty much a success, and after a week, there's just a little bit of color change at the bottom of the media. So I think I'm probably going to stick with this. I'm going to clean it up and probably maintain this as part of my system. Over here I have my calc reactor. I've always had one. For many, many years I've always used calc water. I find it very helpful with alkalinity and in helping with pH. And in my basement, I have 2 working furnaces and a hot water heater. So there's a lot of CO2 down here, and it's something that I've always needed in order to keep the pH of my tank, within reasonable levels. This is my calcium reactor, and right now it is not working. When I first set up the tank 6 weeks ago, the first thing I noticed was a tremendous surge in alkalinity demand. It made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever since I had so few corals. I was like, why is the alkalinity dropping so much, and why is there such a demand? So I started dosing, and I had to dose some outrageous amount, like 600 to 800 mLs a day, just to keep the alkalinity up to where it used to be. And now it has slowly returned to normal. I don't know whether it was some sort of bacterial action that caused it, or whether it was because it's crystallizing on the new sand, but it has since ceased, so I'm no longer worried about it. But it did show me that having the calcium reactor off and using the dosing, that again, it helped with the pH. So I'm thinking of trying a reversal of what I normally would do. Instead of having the calcium reactor run and then when the demand gets high, supplementing with dosing, I'm going to dose, and then when the demand raises, it gets a little too expensive, then I'll supplement with the calcium reactor. And I'm going to see how that works out. If it doesn't work out, I'll just switch back to my usual method. But anyway, I'm hoping that this might actually work better. This is my water exchange system. If I can get it. 60-gallon drums. The one on the left is the DI water. The one on the right is where I mix up the salts. And it's attached to a Genesis water exchanger. You can program this to do continuous water change. It can do a daily water change, or it could do a weekly water change. Like you can see, it's still got a lot of wire management to do. But basically what it does is it takes a gallon up out of your sump and dumps it down the drain, and a gallon out of your pre-mixed salt water and dumps it back into the sump. Easy. If you've got, the right place of a drain. I suppose you could always use a container for the drain in a smaller system, but I have mine go right down the drain. So I think that about covers all the major... Oh, I want to say something about ozone. It's up here, my little 200 milligram ozone generator. I've always found ozone useful. I don't really care what my ORP level is. Of course, I don't want it to be too high to be dangerous to the fish, but that little ozone generator, I don't think you even could generate enough ozone to be a danger in a system this size. You only need a small amount of ozone to do the trick, and it only needs to be on for a small period of the day. I find I turn it on like at 9 in the morning. It goes for like 6 hours till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it makes the water crystal clear. I don't run carbon continuously, so I find that it is really useful in keeping the water clear. So that's what I wanted to say about ozone. And I think, the frag tank, of course. This is one of the tanks where I kept some of my specimens for the past year and a half while I was waiting for my tank. It is not yet hooked up to the system. This is probably where I will keep it. Clean it up and hook it up. But right now I don't have any frags and probably won't for many months. So there's no reason to rush. But eventually that will be my frag tank. And that's what I've been doing for the past, I don't know how many months. And I still have work to do. So anyway, I hope some of the information was useful. And until next time, see you later.